And then we enter early adulthood. Early adulthood is approximately 19 to 38. Now, Erikson's work starts to drop off around here, but there's a couple different pieces that Erikson is still interested in that show up here, particularly generativity. Now, in early adulthood, the biologically driven body and brain development completes. All right, so that phase of our life kind of cools down, which is nice because now we get to a place where we're like, oh, okay, so there aren't constant and perpetual changes that are happening. I get to kind of chill out on that developmental level. But now I get to be more interested in my relationship to the outside world. Now it's less about all of these changes and just trying to keep up with them. And now it's like, okay, I'm at a baseline of this is pretty much where I'm going to be for a while. So what else is going on? And this is where generativity really come in. Generativity is what will be my contribution. This is a little different than industry, which is, do I get to take pride in my achievements? Can I achieve things? What do I have to offer? This is more, what is my contribution going to be? Like, what as a person am I going to decide to offer to the world? More in even than just a value exchange way, more like what's going to be my thumbprint, right?
Yeah. Whereas industry might be more of a metric, like almost a key performance indicator of what I'll measure of the output. This is, what do I want the output to be at all, in a way. Yeah,
exactly. And it sort of pits the development of the ego against the demands of life, effectively, right? It's no longer the demands of changing bodies. It's more like, well, life is now expecting more out of me. So how is my ego going to respond to that?
Does generativity also relate to child rearing or having children? Is that also what it means?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, like you're generating more humans for sure. That
like
could
biologically, we want to generate more.
Yeah, that could be your contribution, is that you have a family, you have children. And a lot of people go down that path. That is their contribution to the world, is that they make more people. And then they try to steward these people and make them good people, right? Good humans.
Yeah.
And so that's very much part of generativity. And here, career choice becomes the most influential part, right? Up to 25, it's gender. After 25, you kind of can't tell, especially considering the person's career choice. And that's the demands of life. So now our egos, or really our cognitive capacities and processes, are very much being shaped by what we're spending 40 hours a week doing. And, 40 hours a week is the average amount of time that we spend at our jobs. And that's a chunk of change, right? That's a ton of time. So if we're a person who has certain type preferences, but we end up in a career choice that forces us out of those preferences, and we've got to sort of learn other skills or maybe use our skills in a unique, interesting way to meet the demands of our career or our job, that's going to absolutely influence how our type shows up. Like, we just recently met ENFP, a person with ENFP preferences and a person with ESFP preferences. And both of them were sort of the top dogs of the regulation component of a medical industry company.
Yeah.
So they're the ones who decide whether or not
they're in compliance or not.
They're in compliance. ENFP, ESFP. This is a very different career path than people would assume people of that type would enter, and it absolutely influenced how they showed up. Absolutely, it influenced sort of basically their behavior and their attitude. They were both quite chill, actually. They were way more chill than you would expect EFPs to be, or as the stereotype around EFPs. But that is very common. And then you'll have people choose careers that are very much in alignment with their personality types, and then they get really sort of doubled down on that style. Those two people, an ENFP that maybe is in performance, right, or marketing or some other, career choices that are common for ENFPs, and one that's in regulation and compliance, they can both have ENFP preferences, but they're going to show up very different based entirely on their career choice.
They have to show up different based on their career type, or they won't survive. I mean, if you showed up like a performance ENFP in a compliance framework, it's not going to go, you're not going to last very long. Let's just put it that way. And the people we met have lasted long. They have basically wired themselves to be very much proficient at their career choices. Mm-hmm.